Alright, so we're going to get started on class number 12. It's very exciting. So we're going to start with our standard box. Again, I'm using a Sharpie as always. You can use whatever you have, pen, pencil, marker, it doesn't matter to me. So you can draw a square, box, whatever shape you want. I want some section of your paper. And don't forget, you can always do this on scrap paper. It doesn't need to be any kind of artist paper or anything. So in any direction, you're going to draw two parallel lines that are maybe, I don't know, like a 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch apart. 3/8, something like that. Not too far, but not too close. And then you're going to draw some perpendicular lines that are relatively close through here. Just as many as you can throughout the section. And then kind of in a checkered board pattern, what you're going to do is you're going to draw perpendicular lines to those you just drew, going up and down or left to right, whichever way you have it, in every other box. So not every box, but every other box. Just kind of squeeze in as many as you can get without them touching. I can usually get about 3 or 4, sometimes 5, depending on how wide the section is, but I think there's 4 in this one. And then you're going to leave a bigger section for this next one, kind of like basically 2 to 3 widths of the original one that you drew. Leave that one blank for now. And then you're going to draw another set here that's about the same width apart as the first set that you drew. And you're going to repeat the exact same process. You want to be sure that you're being consistent with your lines. You don't want to have one set of lines that has really thick rows or columns and then one that's really skinny. You want to be kind of consistent throughout. I mean, the width can change a little bit, but you want to just kind of eyeball it, make it a little bit close. And then you're going to jump another large section like we did the first time. And you're going to do the exact same thing. And I'm going to do another section. You may not be able to fit another row. You're just basically going to fill up your section with however many thin and wide rows you can get. I think I'm going to do kind of like a little piece of one up here on the top because I have kind of a, I don't know, too large of a section, so I'm going to fill that in there. You won't see very much of that, of course, just little pieces. And then maybe just a little hint of one down here. Alright, so in these larger sections, you're going to kind of do a wavy frequency type of line. You don't want them to be really wide like that. You want them to be kind of a little bit closer together. They shouldn't be pointy, they should be wavy. Just want to go across the entire space until you get across. And then just keep doing that in the all the other wider sections. They don't have to line up. This one here kind of lines up a little bit, but they don't have to. And if some of your sections are smaller, you can have some that have, or thinner, you can have some that have a little bit smaller wavelengths or ones that occur a little bit more frequently. It's up to you. Like this one here, I'll draw a little bit closer just to kind of give it a little bit of a different look to it. So you can do whatever you want. You can alter them. You can have them be all the same. It's up to you. Alright, so I'm going to get my large marker. If you have like an artist pen or something like that, you certainly can do that. And you're going to pick a side. It doesn't matter which one. I'm going to do the top section, or the part that, it's flat on the top and then it comes down. I'm going to color all of those in dark black. You can flip it to the other side if you want, but just want to be consistent. So whatever, if you do the right side, you want to stay on the right side. If you do the left, you want to stay on the left. And color all of them in black. Alright, so for the second one, I'm just going to draw kind of a wonky shape, kind of like a pie wedge shape. You don't have to, you can just draw a square, rectangle, circle, whatever it is that you want to do. I'm just going to do something different for a little bit of fun. You don't have to copy this shape. It kind of looks like the infield of a baseball diamond. So, something like that. But you don't have to do that. You can do whatever you want. So I'm going to have my sections here kind of fan out. So they're wider on the outside of the rounded edge, and then they get skinnier as they go to the point. Again, you can have this just on a regular rectangle or a square or whatever shape you want to do. So inside here, I'm going to draw they're kind of like stepladder rungs, but they're not exactly perpendicular to the sides. They kind of start out low and then they go a little bit higher to the right. So you can do yours in any direction, but you want to kind of keep that same look. So you can go, the other direction, left to right, or excuse me, right to left, excuse me. And then as you get closer to this point, with the thinner section, you want to get the lines a little bit closer together. Now inside of each one of these, you're going to draw a straight line up and then back 3 times, up and back, and then up and back. So there should be 3 L-shaped or upside down L-shaped sections, and then that very, very center section you're going to color it in. So the next one you go up and back, and up and back. Again, these don't touch. And then one more here. And then this larger section is what I'm going to use to color in, but I'm going to get my big marker, so I'll just show you. And this is the basic pattern for this larger section. It kind of makes it look, once you have it all filled in, it kind of looks like these arrowheads that kind of come out. So it'll be like that throughout the whole thing. I'm going to go ahead and I'm just going to draw all my L-shaped or inverted L-shaped pieces first and then go back and color, but you can do it however you want. If you just want to do one section at a time, that's totally fine. And as you get closer to the center where these pieces get smaller, It does get a little bit harder to get 3 sections in there, so my advice would be to do 1 or 2 L-shaped pieces, and then make sure you still get a solid black, inner corner. Otherwise it looks kind of like the pattern stops. So like here I'm only able to get maybe 2 in there. I'm just going to go ahead and color it. And so you want to get that little teeny tiny section of black in there. So if you can only get 1 L or 2 L's, just go for that, because nobody's going to check. And then I'm going to go back and just color in those larger sections. I like this one because it kind of creates that optical illusion, like it's a bunch of different triangles or like ends of cards that are kind of stacked, but really it's just straight lines. So it's kind of fun to create that little optical illusion there. Alright, so you can just keep going with the same pattern, but I'm going to add a little variation here. I'm going to do another section that starts wide on the round side and then gets skinnier as it goes to the point. It's going to be thinner than the first section. I'm going to do one of those on each side of my, I don't know what you call them, stacked cards, whatever they look like. So it should be a little bit wider. And I'm going to draw two lines. Again, they don't touch. That go right down the center here, one on the 1/3 side and here on the 2/3 side. So you're going to divide that section basically into thirds. And then you're going to go, I'm going to start from the inside. I'm going to draw arched lines from the outside to the outside of just that section. You can kind of see they don't arch a lot, but they arch a little bit. Just like that. And then what I'm going to do, you're going to basically color this in like a regular checkerboard. So one, you're going to do every other, or you're going to alternate. So here I'm going to do the 2 outside ones, and the next row I'm going to do the middle one. You just keep checkerboarding that all the way to the inside. Alright, and now I'm going to do that exact same thing on the other side. So I'm going to divide this one section here into 3 long sections, and then go back through and do those arched lines that go perpendicular to that, and then do the checkerboard pattern from there. Alright, so that's basically it. Now I'm just going to repeat the same thing. So I'm going to do this stacked card section here. So it's going to be a little bit wider. And then I'll go through and draw my sections. I'm going to go ahead and draw two, like one on each side, because I know I'm going to do those right away. And then go ahead and do the rest of the checkerboard till I fill out the whole section. Alright, so for this end wedge, you're not going to be able to see a lot of the lines, those 3 lines there. So this one you kind of maybe have to do in pencil, or you just kind of have to eyeball it and see what you like. I'm going to do one line straight up to the edge, and then on the next one I'm going to do the L. So the very first one I'm pretending is kind of off the section. So you can, again, you can do it however you want. Alright, so now we're going to do our last one, which is the border. This one's super, super simple. You can make it larger like I'm going to draw it. You can make it really, really huge, or you can make it really, really tiny. So you're going to start out with a wavy pattern again. I'm going to kind of do, I don't know, maybe like 1-inch bulbs, or like waves or bumps. Again, you can make them varying sizes. You can make them, really tiny. On the bottom side, you're going to do exactly the same thing. And when you get to these valleys, you're going to not touch, but you're going to come really close. So it kind of makes it look like a superhero mask, and then you just keep going off your section. So I'm drawing mine very large just so you can see it. On the inside, you're going to draw kind of an eyelid shape. So it's a top arch and then a bottom arch. You don't have to worry about them being, perfectly oval or anything like that. Just kind of follow the shape that you've drawn. And then here on the end, you're just going to have kind of a little greater than or less than sign. And the same on this one, just a little peak here. Alright, so when you go through the very top, you can either do the top or the bottom, doesn't matter. You're going to draw another line like that, kind of just like you're adding another section onto a rainbow. You're going to draw just one. It's going to start on the line and it's going to end on the line. It doesn't fade into the point or anything like that. It goes straight from the line all the way up. And then you're going to go ahead and color that in. You can use your pen or whatever you have, or you can get a marker, because I don't know, I don't seem to like coloring them in with the little Sharpies, so I'm going to use the big one. And these aren't very wide, it's maybe just 1/8 of an inch. It shouldn't be something that's super huge, but again, you can vary it however you want. If you like the thicker eyeliner on here, you can certainly just go ahead and make it a really big section, but I kind of just like it where it looks more like a shadow, a little hint on there. Alright, so technically you can be done with the pattern at this point, but I'm going to add a little bit of embellishment. You can get really, really creative with the things that are inside here. I'm just going to draw some basically vertical lines. They're pretty close together, as you can see. You can make them a little bit wider apart, but I kind of want it to be mostly filled in. So I'm going to draw my vertical lines pretty close together. Again, they don't touch, but they're very close together. Sorry, my wrist gets stiff when I hold the paper like this. Okay, so then the next one here, you're just going to do exactly the same thing. If you can see, I kind of miss my bottom mark a little bit when I go quick. If that is something that bothers you, you can just slow down a little bit. Sometimes I care and sometimes I don't. If I'm just practicing or just doodling for fun, I'm not going to bother with it. But if it's something that you're entering for a contest or doing for somebody else, obviously you want to take your time. So again, at this point you can be done with it, or you can still add more embellishments, maybe some little detail in here. I'm going to add some circles, but I'm going to add an odd number, so I'm going to have 5 If you want to do 3, you can do that. If you want to go the entire length, top and bottom over those arches, you can certainly add dots the whole way. You can just leave it alone. You can turn them into something goofy. It's up to you what you want to do with them. You can make it entirely your own. So that's it. So I hope that you enjoyed all the designs for the class today. Thanks for joining me. I hope that you learned something new, and I hope that you have had a chance to calm your mind and have a good time. Enjoy the rest of your day.